get started. I think there's about 7 people in the meeting, which normally there's a lot more. So we'll go ahead and we'll record this and we'll send it out later, but feel free to ask questions. We will have a slide at the end where basically you can ask questions after we give you a lot of information. I see someone did already ask us who the teacher is, and we're going to try to go over that here shortly. So just bear with us. Most of you that are in this meeting, you've been with Primrose your lifers, you've been here for a long time, or you had a child that's already done pre-K, so you kind of know how it works. But we will, nonetheless, we'll go through everything and make sure everybody knows what's happening and how pre-K works. It should be, we're going to admit a few people. All right, so basically, if you're in this meeting, your child will be 4 before September 1st. That's the cutoff for pre-K. Now, because we are private, we do have a little wiggle room, but the majority of you, your children will be 4 by September 1st in order to be eligible for private pre-K. So the big question for us always is why choose private pre-K over the Georgia funded pre-K program, or what is the Georgia funded pre-K program? So obviously private pre-K is going to be a continuation of what you're used to currently. Your child's in our private preschool classroom. They are used to the schedule, the routine. It'll be very similar to what they're doing in preschool, but on a pre-K level, and add a uniform. Georgia pre-K is state funded. We do not offer that program here at this location, but there are other private preschools that do offer it, and some public school systems that offer it. It is a lottery-based program. So if you are interested in Georgia pre-K, you would need to contact those schools directly, find out when they are taking applications, what documents you need to give them. It is quite the process. It is not something that you typically know right away if you get in or not. You may find out in a month that you've gotten into Georgia pre-K, or you may not find out till the 2nd week of August that you're into Georgia pre-K. It just depends what location you're applying for Georgia pre-K at. I will say if you apply to the elementary schools, it's interesting how and who gets in. I've had people not get in till February of the school year. I've had people get in literally the first day of school. So it is a lottery-based program. So it's not a guaranteed in, depending on where you apply to get in for Georgia pre-K. Obviously, the biggest difference between private pre-K and Georgia pre-K is going to be the cost. So private pre-K is the pricing structure is very similar to what you're used to currently. You can pay weekly or monthly. It will be for the hours of 6:30 to 6:30. There is a half-day program. Georgia pre-K is a little bit different as far as the hours. It would typically, Georgia pre-K is the same hours as the elementary schools, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But so typically the elementary schools usually starts between 7:25 and 7:40, depending on what elementary school you're zoned for, or what elementary school you get into for Georgia pre-K if you do Georgia pre-K. And then anything after 2:30 would be an additional fee for Georgia pre-K. And that is dependent on where you are doing Georgia pre-K at. If you're at a private preschool, they have a specific after school fee and food fee that you may pay. If you're at the public school, you would have to find an after school program for your child to go to after 2:20, which is the end date or end time. Private pre-K, there's no penalty for tardiness or absence. Georgia pre-K is very strict on the time that you have to be in the classroom, how many days you can be absent, when you can be absent, all of that. And it will be specified by whatever school you're at, what those days are and what that looks like for you. And there's also a difference between days that the school's open and not open. So you guys are accustomed to us being open Monday through Friday, basically every day of your life. We're here all the time. So, and that would continue for pre-K. Pre-Ks, we're year round. We're closed on those major holidays. We have added a week that we are closed this next school year, which would be the week between Christmas and New Year. So December 25th through December 29th will be closed that entire week this year. But that is the only difference in the schedule that you will see from what your child is used to currently. Georgia Pre-K follows Fulton County Schools schedule. Next school year, Fulton County is closed 28 days. So on top of your Monday through Friday, not counting the days that we would also be closed, that's 28 additional days that you would have to find care for your child, because typically the Georgia Pre-K program does not offer that. So that would be additional that you would pay, or obviously we'd see if they could come here or what have you. But that's not always guaranteed. As you guys know, we're very full. We have a wait list in every classroom. So that's not something that we always can accommodate. But if you're in the program, we try to help you the best we can. As far as ongoing daily communication, Georgia Pre-K typically doesn't have an app or a communication tool that they utilize to give you information from the teacher. If you were in private pre-K, obviously the Primrose communication would continue. You would still have access to your ProCare. You would get lots of pictures, videos throughout the day that shows you exactly what's happening in pre-K throughout the day. It's a lot more academic than even you're getting now. So that will give you that information. In Georgia Pre-K, that's not something they typically do. Your communication would come from the teachers in drop off or pickup. And a lot of the times that's done through a carpool system. But that's kind of how they would communicate, or via email, I believe. In private pre-K, we have two types of assessment that your child is going to be screened with. We have our STAR literacy assessment and our ASQ assessments. You all should be very familiar with the ASQ assessments. If you haven't already filled them out for this time frame, please do that before Friday, because we are really working hard on trying to get all the families to fill that out as well. Obviously, our teachers will fill that and you'll get access to that. But on top of that ASQ assessment in private pre-K, you also have the STAR literacy assessment. STAR is an adaptive technology-based assessment. It assesses early literacy and numeracy skills. It also gives us indications of whether your child's progressing effectively, if they will be ready, obviously, for kindergarten. So it's online based. Your child's given an iPad. There's a timer. There's a person that talks on the iPad and gives them prompts to pick whether if it's a literacy question, they may ask them to pick the letter R, or pick a picture that makes the sound so they have to pick the rabbit. So they have to really understand the prompts and be able to choose the correct thing. But they do that 3 times a year. By the end of pre-K, our goal for them is to be, I believe it's a 685 score. But you will get that and you'll know exactly where your child is. I can tell you right now from the students that we have in private pre-K currently, we have, I think, 42 students in private pre-K, and I think every single child is exceeding the benchmark number for this specific time to test it, where they're right under it. So everyone's doing a really great job currently. I've never seen that not be the case, so likely that would be the same next year too. But the assessment gives you, it really gives you, pinpoints the things you really need to work on prior to getting to the kindergarten level, so you know exactly where your child is. In the Georgia Pre-K program, they use portfolio-based system that will show you progress. It's not as extensive as what we do in private pre-K, but they will show you progress in Georgia Pre-K, just in a different way. Balanced learning curriculum. So Primrose is going to continue using the balanced learning curriculum that your child's used to now. Our curriculum is accredited, and the big differences between private pre-K's curriculum and Georgia pre-K curriculum would be you're more reliant on having a really great teacher in Georgia pre-K. Now, obviously, I will never say that we have terrible teachers at Primrose, because I think we have the best, but our curriculum isn't set in stone by if your teacher is good or not. The curriculum is great and gives the teachers play-by-play of everything they need to do, whether they are a first-year teacher or they're very tenured teachers like the ladies we currently have in pre-K. In Georgia pre-K, they have content standards that they have to plan for, and they have to meet certain content standards. And there's a lot of oversight to make sure that's happening correctly. So I'm not saying that that's not the case. But if your teacher's a first-year teacher, a lot of times some of those things will slip through the cracks, because it's a lot more a lot more planning that has to go into Georgia Pre-K than would have to go into Primrose curriculum, because the curriculum is already predetermined for us here at Primrose. The structure of the classroom is also very different. We used to have Georgia Pre-K for, I think, 5 of my years, between 10 of your years.
Yes.
And so it's always very easy for us to help parents make decisions on if their child, if Georgia Pre-K was right for their child, or if Pre-K, private Pre-K was right for their child, because you could go in the room and you can see very obvious differences. So in Georgia Pre-K, it's a lot of child choice. So it's the teacher's job to make each area very exciting for them. So if your child wants to play in the kitchen every day, they can, but the teacher has to then figure out how to incorporate literacy into that, math into the kitchen, and help your child meet those different milestones. In Primrose, it's a little more of a balance, because we're having your children rotate throughout the day. There's also small groups that we're doing within the classroom. A lot of the times we've noticed and we've seen that Georgia Pre-K, a lot of the students have never been in school before. So it's a lot of their first time. So the first few months of Georgia Pre-K are learning to stand in line, to figure out their new environment, how to wash hands, how to sit at a table, push chairs in, those kind of things that are basic life skills when you're going to school for the first time. Everyone that's on this call, your students have been with us for enough time that they have that all under their belt and they know exactly what the expectation is to move forward. So those are kind of some of the biggest differences between private Pre-K and Georgia Pre-K. Both programs obviously are really great. I would never knock Georgia Pre-K because it is the right program for some students. It just depends on, and if that's something you're trying to figure out for your family, we'd be happy to chat with anybody. We are not biased. Obviously, we love Primrose and we got Percy tattoos on our back, but we will be honest with you. If we think your student will be successful in Georgia Pre-K, we definitely, there's a lot of students that would be successful in Georgia Pre-K, but there are students that would get lost in the sauce in Georgia Pre-K, because it's a little more hectic than the structure that the Primrose curriculum has in the classrooms. So somebody asked the question, who will the Pre-K teacher be? So I never like to promise anything because anything can happen. We typically do our contracts with our teachers in early June, late July, or mid-July. And those contracts are for the full school year with our lead teachers. I can, with a lot of confidence, tell you these two ladies who are current Pre-K teachers have been with us for quite a while. I don't foresee that changing, but it could, because I can't see the future. But Miss Lee is probably our most tenured Pre-K teacher. She's our most tenured Pre-K teacher, and she's been with us for about, I think, 12 years. Yep. She's taught Pre-K for the last probably 3 or 4 years, 4 years. And then Miss Deja is our Pre-K 1 teacher this current school year. She's been with us for 2 school years. This will be her 3rd school year. And so these ladies are very qualified. We typically will tell you who your teacher is at our meet and greet. That will be in late July. And then we will, you'll come in, meet the teacher, see the classroom that you're in. Typically it'll be those back 2 rooms that we're in right now. And typically, and things could change, but historically, Miss Lee has been the Pre-K 2 lead teacher, which is the teacher for the fall or winter birthdays. And Miss Deja is well, this year, because this is her first year teaching Pre-K. She was our Pre-K 1 teacher, and she was with the students who had spring, summer birthdays. That doesn't mean that that's going to happen next school year. If you have a preference, we can definitely chat about it individually. It doesn't mean that if you do have a preference, you may or may not, your child may or may not be with their best friends. I know friends are very important to everyone. But if you have a preference, we can definitely chat about it privately and make that happen. But currently, this is our plan for the ladies. Once we do contracts and we set up our teacher meet and greets, you'll have a more idea of what's going on. So private Pre-K at Primrose. Pre-K starts August 7th. We'll have the meet the teacher late July. During that Meet the Teacher night, we'll also have like an orientation where we'll give you your first set of uniform shirt. We'll also have gently used uniform shirts that day. We'll talk about drop off pickup. We'll talk about expectations in the pre-K classroom, like timings of certain things and anything and everything you need to know for the very first few weeks of pre-K. So as far as, like I said, your schedule, we have the option of half and full days. The half day in pre-K is 8 to 2:30, and then the full day in pre-K is 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Circle time does start at 8 a.m., which is a big difference to what you guys are used to currently. Currently, circle time is around 8:15 or 8:30. So that is a little bit of a difference. We do, I told you in a few slides ago that no, we do not like ding you for tardiness and for absences, but we strongly recommend, if you want the full breadth of the curricular of the program, you need to be here by circle time at 8 o'clock. We always compare circle time to a morning meeting at your job. So if you miss the morning meeting, you really don't know what's happening that day, you feel a little left out. Obviously the teachers try to get everyone back on track, but we do ask everyone to try to be here, do your best to be here in pre-K by 8 a.m. That's also going to give you some good habits for when you go to kindergarten the following year, because you just heard me say a few slides ago, kindergarten, elementary schools start at between 7:20 and 7:40, depending on what school you're zoned for. So we're trying to gently work you guys up to being here, getting ready for that early morning start. A good portion of you are my early people anyway, so you'll be fine. But just to kind of get everyone on that mindset of this is how we start the day. This is a sample schedule for pre-K, basically just so you can see kind of how the day starts. So if your child arrives anytime between 6:30 and 8, that's really our early morning child choice learning centers. We also have breakfast during that time. Breakfast is typically at 7:45. If you're on the breakfast list, you already know that. We start the day with music, and then we head into our circle time where we do the Pledge of Allegiance, our rules of the roost, our daily attendance, our calendar and weather, our Spanish lesson, which is Mucho Mundo is our Spanish lesson. Then we go into our noggin jogging, and we introduce our literacy themes for the week, and then we go into our small group literacy instruction. Meanwhile, the friends who are not in small group will be in the specified learning centers that you see there. We clean up, we have our mid-morning break where we have snack, then we go into our math small group instructions as well as learning centers for the friends who are rotating. There we go outside for 45 minutes, come back in, we do our project time, freshen up, have lunch, story time, quiet time. Quiet time goes from being the 2 hours or hour and a half that you're used to now to being an hour in pre-K, hour and 20 minutes by the time they get up and potty and all of that. And then the afternoon, typically our 2 pre-K classrooms combine. If you're in preschool, either of the preschools, I'm sure you see this. One group's outside, one group's inside, depending on how that works. And we'll go through the details of that at the teacher meet and greet once we see, you know, how many students pre-registered for pre-K and all of that. So that's kind of what the day looks like in pre-K, very similar to what your day looks like in preschool. So not too much of a change. So it should feel familiar to your child. It'll just be on that next level, the pre-K level. As I said earlier, Primrose is accredited through Cognia, which is the national accreditation agency. So we're corporately accredited by Cognia, but individual schools are required to be accredited as well. So that's something that we do every 5 years. This is what makes us a school versus a daycare, which I think is an important distinction when, if you are looking at other centers, maybe to potentially look at Georgia Pre-K, which is fine if that's a choice you're making, but please look at whether that school is accredited or not, because it will definitely make a difference in the type of instruction you're getting from your teachers. Because whether a teacher is a Georgia Pre-K teacher or a 2-year-old teacher, if they are in an accredited school, there are very strict outlined requirements for things like training, certifications, those health and safety requirements, lots of things of that nature that really do make a difference in where your child is. All elementary schools are accredited through Cognia, elementary, middle school, high schools, and then, like I said, a select few preschools. All Primroses are accredited though. We also go through something here at Primrose we call it the SEA, but it's the Service Excellence Assurance. And it's basically where Primrose Corporate comes in and they are making sure we're doing everything that we promise you that is happening. So that is, to me, it's our own internal way of making sure everything we promise you actually happens. We can, we're doing the best we can do. We're giving you the best possible teacher, the best possible implementation of curriculum, all of that. So these two things kind of set our school apart, which you guys already know that because you chose to come to Primrose Alpharetta, but just a good reminder when you're looking at pre-K options. These guys are our early learning council. So they are a panel of nationally recognized experts that weigh in on our curriculum and the things that happen in our classrooms here at Primrose. I like to point this out because this differentiates us from other centers. Having these experts on our panel helps us have the best of the best, the best, I'm trying, my words are, needed more Coke today. It's aligned with the most recent research in early childhood development, making sure that your children are giving the top information, the top curriculum, all of that. So in our classrooms, we are differentiating instruction to meet your child's needs. This is happening currently in your preschool classroom, but it's also something that we really hone in on in pre-K because we're making sure they have those skills to go into kindergarten and beyond that next level. So the teacher, a lot of what we're doing with those assessments, like that STAR assessment, we talked about the ASQ, we are giving the teachers tools to kind of see where everyone is and then split them up in groups to kind of help them get to that next level, whatever that is for them specifically. So we're regularly evaluating the children. There's lots of teacher direction, teacher guided activities. And then we're communicating with you as well so that you know what's happening and you can help us get your child to that next level. So what is balanced learning approach? If you guys don't know this, you didn't listen to Miss Natasha Latour, but the balanced learning approach is our curriculum. It's research informed, time tested. Our teachers are trained to be the best. They go through 10 hours of health and safety training every single year. They also go through about 40 hours of Primrose training annually. That includes monthly staff meetings, that includes online training, that includes Natasha talking to them a lot. Our equipment from the tables, chairs, toys, books, every piece of equipment is purposely chosen by Primrose. So a lot of times we get people like, hey, can we donate toys? And a lot of times you'll hear me say, no, it's not something we can do. The only donations we can take are books typically. But even that, like I think last week I placed an order to replace some books and it was almost $4,000 worth of books that are very specific to our curriculum, to each classroom, to each age group. And that's not even counting the books that we get from the book fair and things like that. Those are classroom curriculum specific books that we have to have in the classroom. So everything is very purposefully done within the curriculum. We talked about the assessment, it's personalized, tailored to every age group. And then obviously the parent communication that hopefully you all feel you're getting, that's giving you lots of insight to what's happening in the classroom, things you can do with your child. A big thing that we included this school year, started doing this school year, is our Harmony and Hearts literature collection. So Harmony and Hearts is our character development program and also teaches life skills. Every month we focus on a character trait as well as a Primrose friend that gives us insight to how to be a good human, really. So each classroom has a box set of 12 exclusive Primrose friend books to read with the children. Through these stories, we teach QI skills, social emotional skills, reinforcing being a good human in a fun, engaging way with these books. You might have heard all these Primrose friends names and you just don't know, like, well, who the heck's Sally Bunny? So we try to include this in emails that you're getting monthly and all of that. So these are some things that are happening in the classroom that will continue in pre-K. Our Harmony and Hearts music program continues in pre-K. It's just on a different level. In pre-K, they're going to be doing a lot more of tonal learning, like tonal patterns, rhythmic patterns, instruments, recognizing instruments by sight and sound. The Harmony and Hearts music program is something you can also stream at home, even right now. So each day your children have 2 Harmony and Hearts music lessons. They're about 15 minutes each. The lessons are pre-recorded, so your child's teacher can focus on interacting with them and engaging with them. To us, music is really important because music is learned in the same manner as language. First by listening, then by imitating, thank you, then singing and creating music on their own. So they're using instruments, they're learning how to move with music. And they're doing that even now in their preschool classroom, but it's just on the next level in pre-K. This is something you can stream at home on, I think your Apple Music and Spotify. So we always try to send you guys updates so you can do that too, and your children love it. Obviously, you know how we communicate. You have the ProCare Parent app, you have our school website, our Facebook and Instagram pages, the home learning fun activities. Monthly, like today, you should have gotten an email from Primrose that tells you what our next unit of learning is, talks to you about how that affects your child in whatever age group they're in. So today you would have gotten an email talking all about patterns of change, which is our next unit of study, and how that is going to be incorporated into the preschool classroom. You'll get that same information, but on the pre-K level next school year. Balanced assessments, and then parent-teacher conferences do continue into pre-K. One big change for your student is that we do wear uniforms in pre-K. So uniforms are worn Monday through Thursday. Friday's free expression day. And then we would never take away our precious show and tell. So show and tell and free expression. If you haven't noticed, our pre-Kers get really amped up on Fridays. So you'll see anything from beautiful princess gowns to superhero shirts and interesting outfit choices. It's their favorite day. It's sparkly high heels. That's new this year. They're really high heely this year. But Fridays are their day to be like their own human. But Monday through Thursday uniforms, we will give you uniform information as we get closer to July so that you have all the information to order uniforms. We also will have gently used uniforms that are donated each year. We ask that the students wear black, khaki, or navy bottoms, or obviously you can opt to do the plaid option that they have. Black, khaki, or navy bottoms you can buy anywhere. You don't have to buy from the uniform company. What you would need to buy from the uniform company is it's something that at least has the Primrose emblem on it. And that would include like whether it's jumpers, polos, cardigans, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts. There's a lot of different options. There is also a Facebook group. That's one on a personal. I use it a lot. It's called the Primrose Uniform Exchange on Facebook, and it's where Primroses from all over the United States, they'll sell like their uniforms to each other. Like I personally in August, I bought a whole set of jumpers for like $50. I got like 7 jumpers and I'm like, yes. So you can, if you get on there, you can start finding that stuff now so that you have a good idea of what you need and all of that. So that's the next, this is what you all are here for, let's be real. So pricing and commitment level. So registration fee is $150 for individual registration, $200 for family. So if you have a pre-K or in a 1-year-old, then that's the $200 family registration fee. So for the full day in private pre-K, it's $345 a week or $1462 a month. There is a difference in our weekly and monthly. This is new this school year. It is $5 cheaper per week to pay monthly if you opt to pay monthly. Monthlies are charged on the 15th of the month for the next month. And you can switch to the monthly cycle if you're on the weekly cycle at any point. For the next school year, though, to make it clear, it is different than it is this school year. If you are on the monthly cycle, it is $5 cheaper per month. Half day is from 8 to 2:30. That cost is $310 a week or $1311 a month. Registration forms. To register, typically, historically, we've given you a paper package of all this information and half of you lose it and the other half of you turn it in. But so this year we're doing a little bit different. We're not making a paper package this school year. We are going to upload the registration form as a document to ProCare. This is a new feature that ProCare has done for Primrose. So we will, tomorrow I will upload or this afternoon even, I will upload the registration form for private pre-K to your ProCare. You'll get a notification on your ProCare app or via email. The document has been uploaded for you to fill out. You'll log in, you can fill it out electronically, which to me is the easiest. I've done it just to make sure. You'll fill it out electronically and you'll submit it back to us. You don't have to, you literally just follow the prompts and you can submit it back to us once you've completed it. Once I get that back, I will go ahead and charge your account for private pre-K to hold your space for that classroom. So you don't have to give us anything in paper. You can do it all electronically. If you are someone who technology just fights you, sometimes that happens to the best of us, that's okay. You can come to us and ask us for a paper version and we can give that to you if that's easier. But we're trying to go paperless this year just to make everybody's life a little bit easier. So I will post that either this afternoon or first thing tomorrow. I will upload the registration form for you to fill out and sign electronically, and then we will charge you the registration fee to hold the space. Registration forms must be received by February 10th, which is next Friday. And then, like I said, once we get that registration form, we'll invoice you on ProCare. I do foresee us having a wait list. So which is why I'm asking all of the in-house parents, get us your registration form as soon as you can. We will open up any remaining spaces to anyone on our wait list or in the public on February 13th. So I'm always trying to reach out to my people who forget, or anyone who's not in this meeting but listening to it later, because the people in this meeting are going to give me the registration forms because they're in the meeting. But I'm talking to the people who aren't in this meeting. You're going to get the recording later. Please turn in your registration form. I do not want to tell you don't have a space for pre-K at Primrose. Anyone in-house, we're going to try to make sure, we will make sure, not try, we will make sure all of you have a space. But if I get your form after February 13th, I can't guarantee anything. Today, it's what, 12:34? This morning, I've talked to 6 people already about registering for rooms I have no space in right now. So people are calling us, like banging down our door to get in. We want everyone that's already here to have that space. So please, please, please get us your forms as soon as possible. All right, hit us with your questions. Any questions? You guys are easy.
Hey, it's Caroline, Kaiden's mum. I have a question. So I just wanted to ask, like, if we do register, next week, and then, pre-K doesn't start until August, and something changes, and we need to pull out or terminate, like, is that okay? Is there any fee if something?
Yeah, so the registration fee is non-refundable, but
okay.
As soon as you would tell us, and then we would go to the next person on the wait list.
On the wait list, okay. All right, thanks.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, other than the Facebook exchange group that you were mentioning about for the uniforms, you might have said this and I missed it, but is there another place that we can look for other than Facebook? I'm not on Facebook, so.
Yeah, so for the resale, that's the only one I know of. Obviously, I buy new uniforms from the Dennis Uniform Company. There's even a lot of parents who are in pre-K now. Like I said, they'll give us different, they'll donate things to us. So you just come to us and be like, hey guys, like,
one free shirt.
Yeah, we give everyone one free brand new shirt.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Thanks.
So sorry. Hopefully I answered that. Any other questions? Can
I ask another question?
Sure.
Sorry. So in the private pre-K class, do they still help the kids with the toilet if they need it?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that as a mom, my daughter has bladder spasms, so she has accidents randomly, and she always needs extra help. And the ladies are really great about making sure she's help changed and she doesn't smell and all that good stuff. So
okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. If you have any individual questions, definitely stop by the office, chat with Natasha and I. We're here all day, every day. You guys know we live here. Or you can shoot me an email, whatever is easy. Give me a call. We're happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I will upload that registration document for you either this afternoon or first thing in the morning. So be on the lookout for a notification in your app. And then if you have any questions or issues, reach out and we'll take care of you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.